Dun 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Hello and welcome to Extreme Gameplays, where I play games stylishly. Today, I'm coming in with a different type of video. I'm gonna be going through all the exploitable boundaries found by me, Hristo Zimnas, a fellow challenge runner of God of War. I can't say this enough, you should really check out his channel. And of course, the entirety of the ultimate God of War union. Anyways, me and Hristo set out on a hunt for exploitable boundaries in God of War 1. Lemon Zest! What are exploitable boundaries? They're essentially lines that you cross mid-encounters, and the enemies turn brain dead when you cross that one line. Basically, there are spots that you can step in that turn the enemies stupid and they basically stop attacking you, and God of War has a lot of them. God of War 1. I did a whole run where I was experimenting with them, and I found tons of exploitable spots that will help you in your adventures in this infinite fun of a game. And of course, Hristo's and the ultimate God of War union discoveries are all gonna be covered in this video, same with the ones I found. I tried my best to capture all of them, but if you still know one that I might have missed in this video, just comment it down below. Spread the knowledge, just like how I spread your grandma's cheeks. Without further ado, let's start. Again, are we just leaving that joke that I made back there? The first boundary exploit can be spotted here when you climb the net. It is not useful as you don't have free movement, but hey, it's still an exploit, so I had to include it. Also, you can always air attack, like, come on. Next, we have this one, which is good. These enemies spawn after you get Poseidon's Rage magic attack, and you can stand behind both this gate and the one ahead. Pretty neat and safe for no damage runners. Also degenerates. Next up, we have a pretty weak one since the enemies are normies and you can grab them, but still it is an exploit, so I have to cover it. This is an encounter that occurs after killing the Hydra King. Stairs! Get used to that. Taking a step on this staircase breaks these idiots. Nice. And now after we sail to Athens, my god, the amount of boundary exploits. You are safer than EDP trying to get a cupcake. It's fucking insane. Let's go through all of them, shall we? First up, you can stand on the tip of this rock, and you're safe from their attacks. They go dumb mode and you can strike anytime you want. Then there's the opposite side, but just know that this one has to be this specific spot that I'm showing. Otherwise, they hit your ass out of there. Then there's another that breaks them, but isn't really that useful. It's in the docks down there. Or it's completely useless, actually. You can, however, jump attack, so I should include it in this video. It's the rule of exploitable boundaries. Then we have this spot that also breaks them. It's fucking mad the amount of lines that you cross that break the enemy AI. However, this one is very useful. The enemies allow you to cook a spirit or a plume safely. This is indeed the best one in this section. This is indeed one of the exploits of all time. Then there's this one, but it's not really preferable. Just know that it exists. Moving on, we have another one. When these guys approach you, come back to the entrance and they break harder than my back on a Friday morning, baby. Also, one more thing I need to tell you. Jumping into the water breaks them as well. As demonstrated here, every water section does that. So, if you use it, it uses you. Now back to this spot, it's good. It's safe. Even when you stand in some other points of the platform, so we're completely safe here. Although it is preferable to stand on that wooden floor over there, so, or maybe next to this pillar, so just to be completely safe. This whole platform isn't all safe, so yeah. Moving on to the Cyclops Enforcers encounter. We have this one that is not quite a boundary exploit, but it somewhat counts as that because the Cyclops does not fit in. He might attack from here and there, but that's just a 20% chance, so it's good, but there's a better spot though. Near this chest right here, you can also use this spot. It is, however, very strict, so make sure to be as close as possible to the wall for the Cyclops to go Tartclops mode. This one is good because you have all the space to cook a spirit. Spirit is the slam attack, by the way. Again, we call it spirit because yeah, Spirit of Hercules. The camera also helps in breaking the Cyclops, but we're not talking about camera abuse. We're only talking about boundary exploits. Like, the enemy has to be on screen and he has to be standing and looking at you like an idiot. Not looking at you as you being the idiot. No, just him being the idiot who's just... Okay, you get the point. The moment you see him try anything funny, just back roll to the wall, or preferably to the corner, to the upper right corner of that wall, so that you're completely safe and he stops everything he's trying to do. My god, this section has a lot of boundaries. We're still not finished though. Let's go. I sound like a Fortnite guy explaining how to beat the challenges in Fortnite for some reason. I'm giving myself those types of vibes. After clearing the Medusa room and reaching these Legionnaires, you can break their AI by crossing this line, so basically stop at the turn and they just break, which is fun. If you somehow open this gate without dealing with the Legionnaires, they cannot get out. Another boundary. This whole entire section is lovely with the boundary exploits.
Look!
Useful or not, it's fun to know these things. And you just wait, there are a lot of pretty useful ones in today's video. Moving on, climbing up this ladder, you're greeted with some more Legionnaires, which can be easily broken by coming back here to the entrance. You can wreck them pretty easily or use Medusa's Gaze or whatever, just play your game. There's also this spot which can be very useful to use Medusa's Gaze in. You can farm orbs pretty nicely since they fall and you get the Ruin Medal for 30 orbs on top of the orbs that you already collected from them, so good stuff. Profit! And they're broken, they just stand there and look at you, they don't come to attack. Proceeding even further, these Minotaurs can go Minotaur mode when you lure them back to this secret chest spot. Good stuff if you want to easily petrify them, even though they are already in an easy spot to get petrified, but hey, it's a boundary, so I have to include it in the video. Moving on to this gauntlet, and good news, enemies go stupid when you enter any house. You're completely safe, except sometimes Minotaurs try to go for this attack, but that's only once or maybe twice. If you hold your ground in there, you're pretty good and safe, so make sure to use these houses if you want to deal with these fellas. Now, on to one of the best boundary exploits in this game. Here in Athens Town Square, we meet up with some Cyclops and civilians. It might be tedious to fight these guys, so here's a pretty dope boundary exploit for you to use. Break this wooden door and stand on this chest. You also need to hug the wall, and the Cyclops is done. He's Tartclops now. He straight up went Plankton mode. Now, how can you find a good use for this, I hear you not asking? Medusa's lovely gaze. Now, yes, you can use Medusa's Gaze, but there's a twist to that. Kratos might fall like an idiot if you do it wrongly like this. The best way I found was to face the left side of the screen like this, so that when you draw Medusa's head, Kratos does not fall and you safely petrify the Cyclops. Very useful for no upgrade runs. You basically face the left side of the screen, like the right of the chest, and then you press L2 and Kratos safely whips out the head, and you can basically give the Cyclops the stare, basically. That, you know, you can give them that light skin stare. Next up, these shieldy boys can be broken in way too many ways. You can roast their mamas, you can roast their grandmas, you can roast their favorite team in football. Now for real, you can stand on this chest. You can stand on that chest. Stand in the entrance as usual. They're completely broken. Beautiful the things you do when you're an asshole businessman, am I right? Next up, these Gorgons. You can ignore them and get up here to break them. Same with this shieldy boy. This guy literally came from there and now he doesn't want to enter his place back. Look at what trauma does to a motherfucker. Again, this is useful if you want to safely take out the Gorgons, so go figure. Next up in this secret room, these archers break if you enter the secret room, I guess. And when you enter and start the encounter, these Legionnaires break if you either come back to the entrance or go up to the outrance? Is outrance a word? Beware though, the archers in the room don't break cause God knows why. Also, an old man once said, never try to stand on this chest in this room. In the first encounter with the Wraiths, standing in this corner butt naked breaks the enemies. Easy clap. Use Medusa's Gaze or cook a spirit for them hoes standing in front of you like this, like idiots. Next up, you can come up here, trigger this encounter, and then come back, jump over this fence again, and you're totally free, I guess. They're broken, or they might not be, but it is still a boundary exploit, so I just felt like including it. You know, it's so good. It's so good. Please use it. If you're as insane as me and you were curious, yes, you can break these guys if you somehow broke the gate without them interrupting you. This is the most useless boundary exploit, but it exists and I thought, why not? Next up, if you want to go through this secret encounter with the Wraiths, standing outside breaks them. Newsflash. In this next encounter with the Wraiths, coming back to this spot that led to them breaks them. Useful, beautiful. After the Oracle gets nay-nayed, you go up and are greeted with more Legionnaires. Get used to that. You can break them if you stop at the entrance or on the other end of the arena. If for some reason you wanted to break these Harpies in the Harpy room, you totally can by standing beyond this gate. When you pass the balancing section of that Harpy room, you can lure these undead and can stand on this balancing section to break them if you want. Or a much better and more fun alternative would be running towards near the end of the hallway for some fun half collisions that you can try out. They all go dumb if you go beyond these two pillars. Fun. In the sewers, you can give these guys a fun time by standing on this rock. I know a lot of these are useless, but that's the name of the video. This next one I actually found to be quite useful. These minotaurs can be disabled if you cross these two pillars. They just stand there menacingly. This next one is also pretty useful. In here, you can run to this spot and you're completely safe from these Cyclops. Pretty neat for Medusa's gaze. Entering the temple, we are greeted with wraiths and archers. You can come back to the gate to break the wraiths, but not the archers. So if you want to use it, just get rid of the archers first. This is pretty good and safe, so if you want to go ahead and just finish this encounter safely, you can just come back here and exploit this boundary. That's the name of the video again. After solving the button puzzle and entering this place, you can break these guys by hugging this wall right here. Neat. Going up the broken staircase, we meet legionnaires. Those can be broken by going back to the stairs like this. Next up, after clearing this shitty blade wheel puzzle, we meet legionnaires and we can break them by coming back to the shitty blade wheel puzzle room. When going past the last section, we meet harpies that can be broken if you stand before the entrance. Next up, in the Atlas room, these minotaurs can be disabled if you enter this hallway right here. And if you aggro the legionnaires, you can also lure them to the entrance and they break right before reaching the entrance. And you're basically sandwiched right there in the middle. You're like right at the crack. Right on top of the crack. After clearing the first Cerberus section, you meet two Cyclops boys. You can run back here and they break. So use this please if you don't want to take damage. Proceeding, we meet some more seats and those can be broken by standing here where Haristos demonstrates. This is very good. Make sure to use the Medusa's gaze because these guys can turn into degenerates. Next up, in our first encounter with the Legionnaire captains, we break the asses by coming back to the chest spot. I think there's not a single captain's encounter that you can't break somehow. It's like they're praying to get disabled. This one is very useful. After clearing them, we meet minotaurs that can be broken if we run to the end of the hallway. Next, in the sacrifice room, you can break the captains by standing in the hallway that leads to the fire room. My god, these guys are so stupid. Again, let me remind you, water breaks enemies. Here I am demonstrating it with the Cerberus seats. In some rare water sections, you can also break the enemies by standing on the lip of the pool. See here how I am breaking the seats? Just like later on when we face off against the Centaur circle section. Just wanted to remind you all. Next up, this one is actually useful. You can break the Cerberus encounter by going beyond the Poseidon Trident. I am going to demonstrate the coolest way to get into there.
Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Higher on the street and I know it's when
Fun times. Nah, for real, this is very useful. You can kill him or freeze him with Medusa's head, but you do you. It's good. This one is actually useful for no damage runners or for anyone or, yeah, degenerate. Next, in the secret captain's encounter, you can break them by standing near the water here. These guys have a thing for being broken, and I love it. In this next mandatory encounter, you can climb up here to break the enemies. Medusa's gaze works nice from here. Not really. You can even stand on the opposite side of this rock and it does the same thing, but I mean, please don't use this one. Next up for the centaurs, you can break them by entering this dark place up here. And again, water breaks them. Even the lip of the pool breaks them, so go figure. This is actually one of the most useful strats against these centaurs in the circle. It is very useful and I've used it a lot. You should too. Next up for the gauntlet, we have a lot of boundary exploits. You can disable this first Medusa by going the main route. She stops right here. I can pinpoint the line where she stops and breaks. Next up, we have the Centaur's room. These guys are disabled if you stand at the entrance. Entering the place deeper, you meet legionnaires that can be broken if you stand on this small pool. And then from the other exit that takes us back to the Centaurs, they're broken again if you have your distance with them. Next up, we have these other legionnaires Legionnaires and 1 Medusa, you can break them by coming back to the first Medusa's place, or by going behind this lever on the elevator. Them guys are dumb as fuck. Moving on, after getting into the right gate in the fiery boulders section, you can break these Minotaurs in 2 places in this room. First is right here beyond the health chest. This place leads to the rope combat section. Speaking of the archer's room, you can drag some enemies to the entrance and they also break, which is God of War 1. In this section, after the rope combat, we jump down and fight some enemies, but there's a twist to this one. You can climb back up here to break everyone down there. Even a normal jump reaches, so this is very good. Medusa's Gaze can also work pretty good if you want to snipe them with Medusa's Gaze. If you want to. Moving on again after getting the Army of Hades magic attack, standing on the stairs make these Legionnaires perform a ritual. Although if one breaks in somehow, he doesn't go back to the crowd of Gokeks. He keeps attacking. Man is going against all odds. He's motivated to attack me. Next up, Legionnaires in this hallway can be broken from both sides. The entrance and the entrance. Okay, listen, I don't know what the opposite of entrance is, okay? I typed outrance and Microsoft Word says it's a typo. Fuck! In the Cliffs of Madness, the first Legionnaires you meet can be lured back to the Satyr's room and they can be broken there. You just gotta stand right here near the big statue's hands. But oh, this ain't it. You can also break them if you stand right where I keep my furry slaves. Wait, what's that? Dark humor? Arrest this man! We left that temple, now the sub count's dropping. You can break them bitches if you stand here, which is neat, is what I'm trying to say. Next with these fellas, they can be broken if you stand on this elevator. Man, I wish I could carry this elevator wherever I go. Later on, when dropping from this rope, or if you make it there via another way, you can break these Legionnaires by dragging them to back here, basically. Or you can stay behind the rock.
Shut up, bitch!
This rock and the rope that drops, you know, except in my footage, I came here from another way. Anyway, standing there also breaks the enemies and they just stare at you menacingly. Moving on to the Satyr and Legionnaire's room, you can easily break them by standing on this wooden floor. They even line up for some nice Medusa cliff shooting action. It is very useful and it leaves them helpless, just like how my father left me helpless.
Woo! Nobody gives a shit!
Going up to the secret encounter up there, you can stand at the entrance and they, I don't need to explain this. Also, there's another spot at the bottom of the arena. It's better in my opinion since they stay close and lined up. Next, when you meet this single father here called Satyr, you can break him by coming back to the entrance. You can also do the same thing with his boyfriend that comes in the room after. This is pretty much the safest way to deal with these two. Okay, I'm just so good. I can't miss. He can't miss! Next up, when you cross the double bridges that turn around, you are greeted with another Satyr that can be broken in 2 spots. First is coming back to the bridge that you came from. Second is standing on this rock for some nice Medusa Gaze scenery. Next up, we meet 2 Minotaurs. These bad boys can be cancelled if you run to this spot that leads to the secret Bredos chest and all. Pretty good to get some safe attacks in or even petrify them. It is what it is. Next up, more Satyrs. And again, we're so safe. You just stand on this platform or the lower one and they ignore you. This is so good as you don't even need Medusa's Gaze to really get a safe attack in. Just send them to Elysium as I demonstrate. This next one is honestly pretty good. So you enter this room with a Minotaur and some Legionnaires and Archers. Lure all of them into this Tetris room where more Minotaurs are there and you can stand on this rock that is placed there by itself, conveniently. Do hug the wall as well and voila. Or I guess viola, am I right? From there, it's up to you if you want to use Medusa's Gaze or actually, you can only use Medusa's Gaze. This is pretty useful and pretty useless at the same time, and I just love it. Next up, after putting the necklaces up Ares' ass, there are 2 spots to break the enemies in this encounter. The first one is simply coming back to the bridge. This is the best one. The second isn't all that good, so make sure to use this one though. In the second one, they do try to get attacks in and sometimes even hit you, so I wasn't sure if I should include it, but I did anyway because I didn't want to miss. I don't miss, let alone miss you. It is also not the best because your attacks don't have the best reach, and same with your magic. Like, I've beamed those guys. Give me some, beam daddy. And they just don't get frozen. The fuck is this? Next up in the Architect's Tomb. Wow, I'm so proud that I'm saying the name of the place instead of Next up in this encounter where you meet captains.
My nuts.
Anyways, in the Architect's Tomb, we lift a gate and meet more Legionnaire captains. And you guessed it, those stupid bastards are breakable. Running towards the stairs and stopping on the stairs breaks them. Wow, I'm so surprised. Legionnaire captains are getting broken. How surprising. The next one is one of the best. In this encounter, you are greeted with a Cyclops and a lot of seeds. Who found this? I need your address. I want to send you some flowers and some gift baskets, or maybe some flowers and gift baskets. Your best and most optimal play is to come back to the entrance and destroy the seeds with Medusa's gaze to then deal with the Cyclops on his own. This is very good and make sure to use it. Thank you, Haristos, for telling me about this on the stream. Next up in Hades, not the game, you can break this Minotaur by getting on this upper platform. Look at this dude. In this infamous 11 Satyrs encounter, you can break the Satyrs by luring them to the bottom of the arena and jumping down onto the lower platform. Good for some safe Medusa gaze options or home run setups. It's good in if you're skillful, that is. It is pretty neat, so you can use it. Also later on, after beating the Cyclops and Minotaurs when you return to Athens, there are Gorgons in this hallway that can be broken from both ends of the hallway. It's a double-edged dildo. Either the entrance or whatever the fuck the opposite of entrance is. And finally, for the last boundary exploit in God of War 1, we have these Minotaurs that can be broken if you come back near the start of the hallway, and voila, they are done. Son, my god, that's a lot of boundary abuse. This game has a ton of boundaries that you can abuse. Some are utterly useless, some are very useful, and some others are overkill. I hope you guys learned from this video the art of boundary exploitation, I guess. I mean, you know how it is. Sometimes you gotta play dirty to win against dirty enemies, am I right? I'm not sure I'm gonna be making a video like this for other God of War, since the others don't really have as much boundaries as this one, although I can explore sometime, but I'm not sure I'm gonna make a video like that because I don't have the motivation, because I'm a fucking loser with some beta work ethic. Man, I used to upload daily for 3 months and 4 months, and what the fuck happened? With all that, we come to the end of today's video. Did you like it? Does your friend like it? Good. Hit the like button. Also hit on each other. I hope y'all enjoyed the streams and videos to come from this channel. However, for now, it has been your Shin Gamer Zesty. Peace.